Anniversary.
All right, welcome to another episode of Pumpernickel Podcast.
Pumpernickel.
That was a little weak, guys.
That was a little, we could have better than that.
This is the 10th episode.
Episode 10, man. As Nate said, 10th anniversary because this guy doesn't get what anniversaries are.
It's all the same thing.
So I guess it's gonna be more of the basic stuff. Last week we did the game show episode. We found out we knew nothing about each other as I predicted. Well, Eddie and Mike knew a lot about each other actually. They won that game. Yeah, they definitely won that game.
Even then, though.
Yeah. Even then it was marginally more. You know what I mean? Like, so it was like they still don't know a lot, but they knew more than we knew.
I venture to guess that we do better than a lot of people that are getting married today.
You think?
Really?
Yeah. There are a lot of people that are just like, oh, like I've known this person for 6 months. We're getting married.
Woof. Woof.
I know some people.
Yeah, think about it. People get together for like a year or two and then decide to just hop in.
Right.
Yeah, there's some people that, man, there's some people, depending on the age range, like if you're like after 30, there are a lot of people who's just like, all right, we've been on 3 dates, cool, that's enough for me.
That's not enough for me. Because I've known Elvin for, 8-9 years?
Yeah, it's been a while.
We would still fail like 50% of that test.
Yeah. But that was then. That was the last podcast. Let's not get.
Let's not get too far into
Not
that.
sidetrack too much.
So Nate's gonna start, I think, this one off with a couple of questions that I think he has thought through.
Well, one of these was brought to me by my brother, so I'll give credit where credit's due. Shout out to Zach.
Zach Wood.
Yep. Why do we not, in this day and age, have a better weather service? I want that Back to the Future weather service where they're predicting it down to like the second. Because nowadays there's like 100% chance of rain, sunny skies. 30% chance of rain, rains all day. 0% chance of rain, snows.
But to get the weather job gig, like it's got to be good. Like you don't get in trouble.
That got to be a cushion.
Like,
Yeah, but you're
like
the biggest liar. You don't get fired for it.
Yeah, like what happens if you get it wrong like 9 times out of 10?
You're standing up there like, man, it's gonna rain meatballs.
It's gonna rain meatballs.
It's gonna rain meatballs.
It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
Maybe.
What's the weather? Rain is solid. Like, that's and a maybe. And then you slide in a maybe.
Maybe.
But that's the best we got.
25%.
I think they're pretty accurate within like a day.
Yeah, usually. The 10-day forecast is pretty
If you're like planning like, oh, next week it's supposed to rain, then there's just a lot of variables
right
to factor in.
Yeah.
But is there any chance that we could ever reach that Back to the Future style where it's like down to the minute? They know
get
what's
a
up.
supercomputer, bro.
A supercomputer, or if you have like
There's just a lot of.
sensors
You
in
just
the
need to know.
sky.
I mean, not only computers, you just need to know what variables to look at.
Well, don't we have
consider.
Watson? Or whatever that guy's name
No,
is?
I think you need a supercomputer to handle all the information, and then
But you need to know what information to plug in. There's
Or
just
you
a
can
I
get
think
lot
I don't
of
think it's more than a
variables.
supercomputer. I think it's what Mike's saying.
It's just
Well, I
a
think
lot of
that's the
variables
thing.
to plug in.
I don't think it's a lot of variables. I think it's like every variable, like in terms of tectonic
But
shifting, water
They do have
currents.
That's a lot of
supercomputers that can
variables.
compute like very complex things.
Right, but the thing is, you gotta like remember, you're talking about wind patterns, flow patterns.
Yeah, a
like,
lot of variables.
all these things.
It's also probably getting more difficult to predict because of global warming. Like the fact that, because it was easier to
Climate change.
Oh, I apologize. Climate change.
How dare you?
Yeah, my bad. Nazi
So
over
rude.
here. Temp Nazi over here. But yeah, it's I think global warming does contribute to the reason why there might be some skewing there too. So I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm not a fucking meteorologist, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like you have all this data because everybody has individual data. You know,
Right.
The NOAA has a lot of water current data. Everybody's got data on air currents and like atmospheric currents, atmospheric like particles. There's so much data, but it's hard to combine everything.
That's true.
But, they're launching new next-gen satellites into space that'll serve as weather imaging and all that stuff.
Which is
Okay, quick side note off of that.
Yep.
Everyone's launching satellites everywhere. How many satellites we got up there?
Thousands.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean anything because there's so much space.
I was just about to, is it like littered up there or no?
I mean,
There's definitely
think
debris,
about the
yeah.
amount of cars on, like, just Atlanta traffic. Thousands. And that's just in a tiny dot on the surface.
Good
Now,
call.
you, like, go way out.
That's
But the thing is,
very good.
But the thing is,
technology.
they track all of it. Like anything over like I don't know the size of like a car, maybe I don't know. They track so they know.
Well, satellites
Because
are pretty big.
aren't there like square
Yeah,
satellites?
they're small satellites that are like this big.
Yeah.
They even
So do those get tracked?
yeah. There's even I think like one of those Russian cosmonauts was working on a spacewalk and he lost a tool bag and it drifted out into space. So they assigned it its own tracking number. and they tracked it for like 9 months until it orbital decayed and burned up back in the atmosphere. So they track a lot of things.
So let's say I had a rocket ship out into space, I'm not like flying through debris fields out there.
No, and the thing is, like, you know, the asteroid belt.
Yeah.
Saturn. I was just about to bring up
You know
Saturn.
that, like the asteroid belt, like like Star Wars where they're dodging all these asteroids.
Right, hundreds
And
of
in
thousands.
reality, you
Yeah.
could probably just fly through a straight line and be okay because it's just so
The
far
space is
apart.
so
They're
big,
miles
yeah.
apart.
So
yeah.
the chances of you hitting what's called space junk or space debris satellites are very small, but they still keep track of it just in case.
And also, if you get hit by it, it's over.
Yeah,
It's the-
that's
that's
the
the
thing.
thing.
You're traveling.
Yeah. Also, debris. Like that's another thing that also
Yeah.
gets forgotten about too. Is that like because it's not gonna it's space. Some shit hits some other shit at whatever miles an hour. That thing's still cooking at that speed.
Yeah.
So if you're getting hit by like if some random tiny even like a quarter or penny sized object hits you, it's taking everything off.
Imagine being
Yeah.
killed by a baseball card or something.
Got killed by Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Give you the gambit.
What is that? Is that an Exodia card?
Blu-ray.
Yeah. Blue eyes, white
Yeah.
dragon.
The thing is, like, you know how they track everything in satellites, but for us, like, who do you have to submit a petition or like papers to launch it? Because you can't just like build a
That's a
rocket
good
launch
point.
it.
Can you just launch
You,
it?
you launch it. The military is going to get on you and like, oh,
No.
you entered whatever airspace.
You have to have some type of.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
blow it up
Do
and you
you?
get arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you launch something into space, because there's satellites that monitor things that launch from the surface. That's how we detect if like
Over and over.
a nuclear missile is launched,
Right.
and flags will go off. So if some dude out
Literally
somewhere
flies.
just like launches a
It's the
rocket,
world's best
he's
rocket.
gonna cause World War III Armageddon.
Yeah.
So you have to get procedure and protocol, but you can.
Yo, imagine
You have to get
sit
permission.
up,
Because in my head it's like-
rocket up and an atom bomb comes back. Rocket's way bigger than I thought it was. Boom! Turn
Yeah.
you straight to
Yeah.
space does.
Raise the flag,
Yeah, I
but
think
let
it's
the British flag.
What?
I figure they should blow it up. Even if, let's say you could conceivably build something that would like break gravitational forces and get up
But
there.
you
dude.
could.
I
could.
figure they blow it up before it even gets
I
out
mean,
there.
yeah, you can go into
Probably,
space.
yeah.
Now imagine you spend 30 years of your life making some shit, and then the moment it hits like the stratosphere, you hear that big ass explosion, and that 16 goes sailing by with a middle finger out the top.
Like
I figure
accomplishments,
they blow it up
yeah.
like in my head because it's just like a safety concern.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you can't just be having
yeah,
random
flags.
send a shit to space.
wait. So if let's say hypothetically I won the lottery.
Oh.
I get $50-60 million. I'm a scientist or something. I make myself a homemade rocket. I launch my ass into space. They're gonna blow me up.
Damn.
You have to.
If you don't tell anyone, there's a good chance
They will.
they'll probably. I mean, what are you going into space to go into orbit, or are you just going into space and then coming back
I
down?
want to do a hot lap. One lap.
One lap, yeah,
The moon and back.
dude, that's a lot of money, man.
Damn.
Because going up into space
No, that's
is
what
like
Nate's saying. Like you
relatively easy, but staying in space is like
Yeah,
you need a lot of
I
energy.
want a high speed hot lap.
Oh, jeez.
New lap record.
I mean,
No,
but the
but
thing is,
how-
once you go into an orbit, you can stay there for a long time. Okay, so you want to go into orbit and be like, I've seen it. Just come back down.
Hit the brakes.
This is the thing. Like, how expensive is it really?
What?
Like, we say it's expensive, but like if
So,
India,
like,
if
I
India-
kinda
Well,
like to, like,
Elon
make
Musk is
something-
reducing that cost.
Yeah, he is.
as
It's
we
expensive
speak.
to do what? To make
To
a
go
rocket?
to take
actually
a
go
payload
exactly.
into space.
yeah, because the
Fuel
if
costs
India-
and all of that. Yeah.
fuel costs high, but like at the end of the day, like a lot of things, like they're overly priced and marked up because it just is what it is on taxes and whatever.
Yeah, so if I actually
Because
knew.
India sent like a satellite up for like very cheap. It was like pennies on the dime compared to like what we
Yeah, that
we
was-
get along.
that was-
Probably
Yeah,
also
but
slave
it's
labor,
also
though.
it's,
In all fairness, I'm
it's
just
probably
being
no,
honest.
I don't think it
probably,
was.
like-
I think it's through the science department. But I think there's like, of course, it doesn't have the same range.
Right.
That's like-
but like I'm just
so
saying,
like-
just for like the moon and back, like what Nate
I
was
don't.
saying.
Did it go to the moon?
Well, moon
I don't
is-
think there was-
We also
I think
forget
there
what
was-
it is.
They're planning to land a rover on the moon.
Okay, I was about to say people
In the
forget
next
that
few
the moon
months.
is still very
We talking about
fucking
the one
far
that they
away,
launched,
even
like,
when you
last
break
year,
orbit.
Yeah,
And the
well,
thing
I
is,
thought this was-
they're gonna
No,
take
Hold on,
China
China
was
wants-
doing
they're probably gonna take like 4 months to get to the moon.
How long does it normally take?
Well, it depends. I mean, technically, you can get to the moon. It just depends on how much energy. Like when we sent men to the moon, like in the 60s and 70s,
Yeah.
it was a 3-day trip.
Damn.
It's going to take India to put a rover there 6 months or 4 to 6
Damn,
months.
snail pig.
But it's a time versus energy thing.
Right.
So they're doing something called orbital raising. So every time they lap around the Earth, they just fire the boosters just a little bit, and it raises their orbit just a little bit.
Okay, I changed my mind. I don't want to do a hot lap. I want to do a full speed thrust into the moon.
And so just straight in,
Yep.
just off the surface, right into the moon.
No reverse thrusters at all.
Yeah.
Straight moon.
I just want to thrust into the man in the moon.
He like, you see him like step out as he's like getting holding on like a trolley, and then like fall straight to the moon surface.
Dude, you'd make your own crater.
Boom!
And we call that Nathaniel's crater.
And it's a butt in the moon. Just a whole butt in the moon. It's like, my boy Nate died as he lived, an asshole.
You guys see that pink rocket ship? Yeah, that's Nate.
A leopard print pink rocket ship.
That'd be the Virgin Galactic kind of like rocket ship.
But that's what I was going to bring up too, is that Virgin Galactic I thought was working on this way, or not just Virgin Galactic, because NASA and all them have one, where it's like you take a plane as high as you can, and then a ship leaves on that plane. It's like, so from that point, it then thrusters engage, whatever, and then it leaves from that point. So it seems like that would be
Easier?
so much cheaper to then to first take a plane to as far as you can out in the atmosphere, which isn't very far because there's still layers of like the ionosphere and stuff you're not crossing.
Right.
But like you get far enough out, and then from there you then shoot the ship off. And imagine if you do it as you're still thrusting or as you're still accelerating, then letting it go, you could probably save a lot of energy there too. So I don't know what the future's going to look like, but it seems like it makes sense.
Maybe for like light payloads.
Right, yeah, which I imagine what he's trying to do.
Like
If
small.
he's trying to send like
Virgin,
into space.
Yeah, because Virgin Galactic's idea was you're supposed to. He was just doing like faster travel for like humans.
Right, just so people can visit space.
So you can leave Atlanta, rise up, cover like the Atlantic Ocean in like a couple of seconds, and then come back down.
Because essentially you just go up so high, the Earth rotates under you,
Exactly.
and you just come back down.
Yeah.
So you kind of like don't really move.
Exactly.
That's how trips across the world are too.
I want to ride that thing like Wile E. Coyote into the moon.
He's on the top of the record. Not even a big enough explosion. You just see a mushroom cloud with some quiet.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were just talking about this. I think Eddie and I think we were all talking about this earlier. We still got the 1960s spacesuits. When do we get some upgraded spacesuits?
There's a lot of research going into that, man.
You know that spacesuit Elon Musk put the Tesla, the Starman in?
Yeah.
That wasn't just a costume. That was like an experimental spacesuit they were going to test out.
But the guy's already dead. That's just a mannequin. He's not going to.
Yeah, exactly, right. I don't think they're going to put
I mean,
it.
unless they have
comes back
certain
blue.
sensors in it, maybe.
He comes back blue.
He comes back alive.
He came back mannequin, came back a man.
What year is it?
No, but we didn't talk about it. Like,
Get
if
back to the past.
you were disposing of a body, that'd be the best way, because how big
Yeah, someone commented was like Elon Musk.
Yes.
That's the
Like,
best
that was-
way.
that was the
Best
best
You
way.
have that much money to like try to dispose of
Why
body
not
by
just get some
suing
ass?
I mean, how you can even someone can even say I saw him do it, but where's the evidence?
Exactly.
We saw that body.
We
burning
have
up
to
on
go
the
out to
tree.
Mars to get the
Yeah, go ahead.
forensic
feel free.
data.
He's on Mars digging a grave. This is a very expensive route to get rid of a body.
Ain't nobody gonna find you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the far time in the future, they realize they catch up to us like there was a dead body.
Yeah, and it's been a millennia, and he's like, God, yeah, it's like, and then the bottom of it is like, I did it, and it's the Gavi play. It was me. It was me.
But now Eddie's like great.
Gets arrested. His name is Eduardo Sanchez. I'm writing the
Is your
screenplay.
name not legally Eduardo Sanchez?
Yeah, damn, I'm writing the screenplay.
Perfect.
No, but like the thing about those spacesuits is it's a lot of like because you have to basically create Earth's atmosphere in the suit.
Right.
That's why you have this extra gas, and like that's why it's hard like to do anything that takes dexterity for like astronauts to fix anything.
Well, yeah.
That's why most pieces that are made like big enough,
Yeah. So
almost for like kids' toys basically.
Right.
These giant screws so that you can actually use tools. Because you can't like imagine having a glove, but not just a glove. Now you got air, and you're having to work with each
And then
individual
a
finger to
fucking
be like,
vacuum
Yeah.
outside of that, yeah.
and it's got to maintain your temperature and everything. Yeah, it's just
A complete total vacuum outside of that.
Yeah, but with breakthroughs in like material science, I'm surprised you won't have like a like a latex rubber glove and like a regular size suit for this guy. So
It's hard to make. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to make something that's spacious, flexible. Like you can't.
Right.
Yeah, it's really tough. Because it's like, imagine like it's the same as like if you wore like 15 jackets. It's like how the fuck are you gonna move? You know what I mean? Like the material. What we'd have to do is get a material that is thin enough. So,
Right, it's just thin enough to create enough like heat and frost resistance.
Right, to keep you, radiation off of you and all
Exactly.
that.
remember that shit like 5 years ago, the aerogel? Anybody remember reading about that?
Yep, I remember. You can buy aerogel online for like $10. not like vast quantities of it. They'll send you like a little sheet square like that big. It's like $10. Yeah.
Yeah, it's some sort of super thermal
Solid,
conductor or
lighter
something.
than air.
Yeah, a solid that's lighter than air. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, blows your mind a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll look it up.
You
Because
can buy it for
I could have
$10.
sworn it was that cheap.
It's cool shit, right?
Yeah, I want to buy something in bulk. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but just buy it.
You go into outer space, you gotta see you losers later. It goes up like Cersei.
He's got a hot air balloon filled with it.
It's purple.
Purple.
Yeah.
That would be
See you
on
kind of
point.
thrown in the sky, see you losers later.
Purple cloud, man.
Just use to make like giant like hot air balloon things, to transport people, like luxurious air cruises.
I think Hitler tried that and it didn't work out too good.
Well, that was Hitler, man. That was like ages ago. Well, not ages ago. But
Fuck him and that
Yeah, that Hindenburg kind of dropped pretty hard.
Well, right.
Bird.
You learn from past mistakes.
Yeah, I suppose.
Hydrogen go boom.
Yes.
Especially when you
Yes,
paint it with freaking
fucking does.
rocket fuel. Rocket.
Yeah, you can buy it.
Yeah, the future's gonna be interesting.
Too bad we won't be here to see it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Damn.
Maybe.
How do you really want to invent something
You don't know, like
back
5 years
to
from now, they don't just grab your ass up and drop you in a vat of something, and like next thing you know, you're in the future.
A decade from now, it's just going to be the Jetsons.
crazy. Like
It would be crazy, but it'd be such a mind fuck. I might kill myself.
So let's do this then. Would you rather have medical science breakthroughs to extend your life, let's say another 300 years, or let's say a medical breakthrough to be frozen and then revive you 300 years from now?
I'd rather
I'd
be
rather
frozen.
I'll take the frozen.
I'd rather be frozen.
I'd rather have the 300.
Because I feel like
You rather live to 300?
I'd rather
because that
have
means
the
you will
300.
age, right? If you live to
No,
300.
no
It's no aging.
But once your body
But
still,
your mind's
your
aging.
body will still take the wear and tear.
Yeah,
so like you
there's
cut,
mind dilation.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what they say about people who theoretically would live forever. Is that like it seems like it'd be cool, but the issue is that remember when you were like 5 years old and
Yeah.
the summer felt like it was 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you think about
Because you
all
don't
the
have
people you
frame of
come
reference,
across,
yeah.
all the people you come across,
Yeah,
they
and
all
so when
die,
you're 300 years old, you don't even like literally when you're 300 years old, like
You don't even
10
remember your
years feels
parents,
like
man.
a day. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll be fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
10 years pass and some kid that you saw on the street is now an adult and you're just like, what the fuck did that happen? Like, you're like looking around like, what?
I mean, like,
Yeah, your
Maybe
sense
it's
of time
because
is
you
altered.
do
I mean-
different things as a kid, but as an adult, you just do the same shit every day.
True, maybe
Yeah.
you had a different enough life day to day.
yeah, you would have to, because I mean, think about it, like, you gon'
No,
you gonna
really,
work a job.
really, like,
You got a 9 to 5 for 300 years, of course.
Working at
it's-
Chick-fil-A. Working at
hey, Jim, how's
Chick-fil-A
it
for
going?
300
Yeah,
years.
yeah, exactly.
Making fries.
Still bringing the tuna fish sandwich to work every day.
That was oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, and now you're working with your like coworkers, great grandkids.
Yeah.
Like,
Just buried my fourth wife.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Y'all didn't think about that, did you?
Yeah, that would be devastating.
Oops. So,
burying kids like big goldfish, like,
your kids are like pets.
Damn.
You'd have to keep pets, I'd imagine. You couldn't keep people.
Yeah, like it's just.
Get a tortoise. They live to be like 300,
People would be
right?
like, kids would be like
Go
hamsters
out.
to you though, because it'd be like 2 years and then it's dead. You know what I mean? Like just in the frame of reference, when you're like
Yeah,
300 years old, yeah,
300
it's like this kid's already 60. What the
Yeah.
fuck happened?
Be like that dude from the,
That's the thing.
the
Your
Green
mind, the
Mile.
way you think and view things changes. Like
That's what they say about the whole time dilation thing. That why it'd be devastating. That's why I also thought like if you live for infinity and then like Earth blows up or some shit like that, and you're hurled through space, you're just spending literally infinity of space,
just thank you.
just staring at shit.
I guess Vegeta didn't think about that, did he?
it's gotta suck dude, to be like that. Not,
Yeah.
because knowing that life is finite is what gives you that impetus to do things and to begin with.
Right, but when life's infinite, then you just.
Like, what's the fucking point? Yeah.
I guess I just hold out. I would just live every day holding out to see what humanity does next. But then it make you incredibly jaded because you just like you couldn't be friends with people.
Because you see
it's
things
like,
repeating over and over.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
just see
that's
patterns.
I mean, you
Yeah.
could, to be honest, because like think about it. If you knew that you wasn't going to die, you will probably. I feel like you'll be more willing
To do weird stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to do real stuff. Yeah. Like, think about it. You'll probably like go bungee jump. Well, I guess people already do bungee.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
you'll-
like for the people that are like normally like I would never do bungee jumping
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
But like if it was like shit, man, you're not gonna die. All right, fine, fuck it.
Yeah.
So what's this
Don't
all
even
about?
take the rope.
Don't even take the rope.
No, that's base
You
jumping.
should, you just go to high school and prey on underage girls, like they did in Twilight, right?
Oh, facts. Exactly what he did.
Isn't that like they live forever? So he went to school,
He's like 100+ years old. It's like,
and it's like I'm gonna go to high school instead of
a
biology.
pervert.
Yeah, he was a pervert.
Shit.
Yeah, he's like 100 years old. He's like, I'm gonna learn biology.
Yeah, he started.
I wonder what his grades were. Do you think he still got F's?
Yeah, that nigga never went to
Like
class.
after 100
Like
years, you think
history?
something would stick?
I know.
No, but you can't get all A's. You know, you gotta mix in like a B.
Yeah,
here.
no,
you
you
gotta
gotta
like make
you-
it seem like you're like.
You gotta throw him a curve.
Right.
you got grades in the class like you've been here before.
No,
No.
That's just weird though. You choose to
I
live
was-
forever, and you're like, I'm gonna go to high school.
I was with Darwin when
Friday
he came
Night
up
Lights,
with
bro.
Just like all types of shit.
And he could have been on the.
I was
He could have been
without
varsity.
It could have been varsity.
He could have been
He's still
varsity.
JV.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of black kids dunking on him. JV.
Look at that.
And you could tell he wants to like show him up, but his dad's in the crowd like,
How
don't
many
do it.
times did you do lesson?
No superpowers. That's crazy.
Get your hops up.
Get your hops up. You beat a vampire in hops, bro. I mean, he gotta kill himself. He gotta eat a ham.
You gotta give it up, man.
On spot.
I can't do this.
Boom. I can't do this anymore.
Eat some garlic toast.
Boom. Some garlic toast. What's on this toast? Garlic. Oh. Boom.
I read a fact about vampires. So you know how they can't see their reflection?
Right.
So that was because mirrors back in the day had a silver backing on them.
Right. Oh.
But today's mirrors have aluminum backings.
So they will be able to see themselves.
So they're walking amongst them.
So they so if you're a vampire, you don't know it.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Unless you
Stab myself with a stake. Boom.
we're good.
You don't realize
I'm
until
alive,
you
I'm
have to drain
human,
blood
but
from
like,
another
I
creature.
On this
Thirst
topic of
blood.
like vampires, you know how much people pay, like drop into like vampire protection equipment or zombie protection
Yeah.
a
equipment?
Pokemon. What was it?
Thousands of dollars.
A leprechaun. Leprechaun flute.
Yes, leprechaun flutes.
Leprechaun
People
protection.
spend money on the stupidest shit. And I guess it's entertainment. I guess that goes under entertainment costs. Like,
Well, yeah, but I feel like the people who like invest in bunkers and stuff like that, like that's I can see that being like
Oh, doomsday preppers.
Yeah,
All you
like,
need to do is know how to
vampire,
shoot a gun, and that way, when shit hits the fan,
That's
you
more-
just take that shit from them. If anything, like Fallout has taught me.
dude, I need a gun. Yeah.
If anyone's like, "Oh, this is a nice stack of non-perishable items you have,"
I'll take those.
I'll take that.
That's every movie that I've seen.
Thanks for prepping
You
for
need
me.
a weapon in a post-apocalyptic world because
Yeah.
someone's gonna fuck you.
You
over.
just go in there and you book a Eli everyone.
Yeah, you can't trust.
Wait, aren't they making a second? No, that's
They better not.
It already happened.
Bro, that's when you keep the Mossberg
Straight to
all the
DVD.
time.
Yeah.
Keep
Dude,
the
yeah.
Mossberg.
No, the Equalizer. They're making a second Equalizer.
I don't know
The
why.
first one was good. It's,
I'm gonna make an example out the first nigga when I put that Mossberg straight to his chest and turn him into a balloon animal, bro.
what?
What's your animal of choice?
Oh yeah, right.
Turn him into the Hindenburg.
Yeah,
But that's what you need.
turn this
You
nigga into
need-
Hindenburg. Boom to the ground, slow mo.
Humanity.
And see, it's funny that we think that way because even if we didn't have guns or anything, I'd be thinking about getting like a piece of wood to like bash somebody. Like,
2x4.
Outside beating it over there.
to get whatever I
You
need.
vegan not?
Huh?
You vegan?
And he's out there like Dwayne the Rock Johnson,
To,
walking
4x4.
tall, clubbing people.
My
I'm
favorite.
just saying that. Look how
Like
we were
baby
like,
seals.
absurd idea, like,
Let's go around the room. What would be your gun weapon?
Oh, good,
choice?
good, let's do
So you
that.
said a machete.
No, I thought you were gonna be like
I nothing like that.
Sugar
Nothing that's already
with that compressed air gun.
No firearms.
No fire, but
Call it Fred
no
dog.
firearm and no like typical weapon.
Boom!
So you gotta think of like
Okay.
high,
Blowing
like,
cavities in people's
okay, household
scalps.
items. Household items. How about my bat? I can move my bat.
What? You alright?
Get it out.
Michael two on the sugar.
What's going on? For a solid 30 seconds. Nothing else to go, man. That'll be out.
I thought you were gonna be the sugar.
No, I thought you were gonna be. Yeah, I thought he was
I
gonna
mean,
say
if I give you
sugar.
the option,
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Or like those cattle guns where the bolt
Yeah,
guns
the
where
bolt
they.
gun, yeah. You clock him on the forehead. Look.
Yeah, you got to be real close.
You turn it into the USDA.
Yeah, I'll just use a
100%
brander.
organic.
Yeah,
I guess
this is far great.
No, what you gotta do with that gun is you gotta cut off the middle of the side, just keep the air
Gluten free.
Yeah,
and then
turn it
tie it to
into
your
a
hands so you can bust somebody with it.
Oh,
yeah.
doing it once. Doing it once.
What was that? What movie was it where it was like where you punch someone and the
Eli.
impact? No, not Book of Eli. No, you punch someone and the impact. It had like it was like a shotgun round or something. And
Is
you
it
punch.
Elysium?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was Elysium, I think.
It was like a bullet in the fist, and when you punched him, it caused the bullet to go.
That's not Elysium, but that sounds cool as shit.
I forget what it was.
Sounds like Ruby.
Or was it Avengers?
Yes.
Or the Captain America too, right? This last one.
I don't know.
Winter Soldier, where he's fighting that one dude at the very start.
Oh wait.
He's got the
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Or like Spider-Man Homecoming, where they had to do who was like.
There's a lot of things that are similar to what you're talking about, but yeah, that'd be cool.
Hand cannons.
Yeah, hand cannons would be that'd be my go-to.
I think it was in Gran Torino.
Bam!
Get off my lawn.
And they got
Mike's
off.
weapon is a denim shirt.
Yeah, a denim shirt. Yeah.
Big old.
A Make America Great
Shows
Again
up.
hat.
No, but yeah.
He said make America great again.
Definitely like a character with that.
So what would be your weapon, Elvin? If it
Oh,
wasn't a
going in this
firearm.
direction. Y'all go that way. Because I still got to figure
How about you, Mike? Not a firearm.
He said a Make America
I
great.
already said a bat, an aluminum bat. Let's say that whatever we take.
Damn, you stole mine.
A non-fire. Oh man, I don't know. What's a good? I don't know. A chainsaw's pretty good.
Chases
Sounds
foil.
pretty good.
Yeah.
But don't you need like oil or whatever?
No.
Gas.
Gas.
Afterward, you
Have a
just
solar panel chainsaw.
Oh, just give me.
It's a hybrid. It's,
He's like,
it's a
what?
leaf
He's
chainsaw.
grabbing like.
Yeah.
Like, hold on, wait.
One second. Electric
You
chainsaw.
want it up to the solar panel.
I'm going green.
Yeah. If it's a cloudy day, I'm fucked.
Alright, so Mike's a chainsaw. What are you?
I'd probably just keep it simple, man. I just use a brick.
Holy shit! A brick!
Bro, you look out into the valley, and like there's some dude running away, and you're like, who's he running from? And you see Mike's shirt open, chasing with a brick, and he rolls the brick and knocks the dude smooth out. Bro, I am not going down.
In all
I
honesty,
keep the Mossberg on me. I'm not going down.
In
I
all
don't want no
honesty,
trouble.
if you see Black Mike right now, you know his shirt's unbuttoned, he's got his undershirt on, he's beating someone to death with a brick. I'm not getting anywhere near it.
Yeah.
So you got
And like open shirt, he looks up and he got like this blood stain over his chest, and he look up at you. You got
this is
it.
your turn.
I got it. Yeah, he took the shirt away. Closed the shirt back up.
Fix his glasses.
Yeah.
Can I help you?
Can I? Yeah. Okay. How's it going? No, you got it. My bad. I'm going about my business.
You see an open field with like 50 dead bodies, and next to each dead body is just a bloody brick.
Yeah. He keep the brick like the Santa Maria candle by the Mexicans.
He gets a fresh brick every time.
How about you?
I like a fresh brick.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Claw hammer.
A claw hammer.
Oh man, that's a good one.
Because I can do some work with a hammer.
A hammer does a lot of work. You bash, you can like.
Or a ball peen hammer.
No, the claw's like peel up like a can of paint.
Yeah,
That's true. Boom. Crack that nigga leave like a spray.
Refreshing.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about like sharpening it. Like it's right there.
Fresh and clean, no caffeine.
Y'all ain't ready for mine, bro. I got mine.
You the ice cream
Go-
scoop
go-
again?
No,
No,
I
you
can't
go.
think of
Come
it.
on.
Nah, I gotta be last, bro.
Well, I just thought of the thing I was talking about with the gun and the
Yeah.
fist, the glove.
Yeah.
It was in Inglorious Bastards.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. It's called a Sedgley gun.
Say it again?
Sedgley. SEDGLEY.
Oh, it lets off a shot when you
So
make
like when you
contact,
punch
yeah.
someone, it pushes a button and it shoots around.
Yup.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Man, dude.
They took that
Got your ass shot.
Can you
after
imagine
every
the
punch.
recoil?
Big ol' showtime.
I put that under that boxing glove when I fight Mayweather.
Yeah.
Nah.
That might be
You
cheating.
got
We got
it.
strong there.
Household item.
Household
You got it.
item.
You got it.
A yardstick.
Bug spray.
Yeah, I think brother been a lighter.
Bug spray with lighter.
Yo, that's a flamethrower, man.
Yeah.
My eyebrows.
Oh, dude, especially if you use bug spray, that shit'll stick to you like napalm.
That's exactly what it turned into.
It's biological,
It's just
man.
like liquid, yeah.
I mean, you give somebody a couple of ounces of Raid in the
Give me
esophagus,
your
and that's it.
oil.
Yeah.
I send the hot ball straight for the head.
That's true.
No fire.
Yeah.
That's no joke,
That's not
man.
bad.
Shit, see, I'd sneak up on a house that has people.
Yep.
Straight up on fire.
Firebomb them. That's no bullshit.
What's
Good
like
old-
2-5 go?
A good old Molotov.
Yeah, that's hard to go wrong with a Molotov.
Yeah.
I think
Are you the ice cream scoop?
Sammy?
I would have done the ice cream scoop, but we forget the OG. When all else matters, a familiar cartoon reminds me of what truly matters in life.
A mallet?
Ed and Eddie Rolf. 3 shoes, my guy. 3 shoes of different lengths.
You got 3 shoes.
Bite onto one and hold it in your mouth and use the other 2 in your hand. You run into a crowd, bro, and knock some niggas out, it's over. Because you said brick, but you beat a nigga ass with a handful of shoes and you ain't got no more competition, bro. I'm telling you, you beat, even if it's zombies, you kill one zombie with a handful of shoes,
Okay,
the rest of the zombies slowly walk away.
Don't like Mexican moms do that on the
The
red?
chocolate.
chocolate, yeah, the
One chocolate.
That's
Okay,
chocolate.
what kind of shoes are these? You carry like a Timberland in the left hand?
Right hand is my predominant answer. That's a Tim.
Left hand stiletto?
Yeah, left hand is a stiletto for the stabby stab. Yeah. And in the mouth is a Chuck Taylor
I was
for
gonna
balance.
say, if you really want to,
For a nice balance.
If you really-
will be
Yeah.
crucial.
if you want to embarrass somebody, hit him with a Toms.
Yeah. I keep an espadrille in my mouth.
Like when you sneak up with somebody and do like the,
Yeah.
here's a Tom.
No! You hit him in the head and he's
Or
immediately, he on the ground
The
dead.
light up shoes?
Yes.
Yeah.
People light up. You come out, imagine like, you come out the darkness. I come out the darkness like a mayor Jew, bro. You're like Colin Elvin.
Dude,
and it's like you from the dark alley when you see a sketcher light up in the background, and I come out with the light, with the lighter on my eye with 2
And you just
shoes
slide in on some Heelys.
Yeah.
Even worse.
and slide on the pair of Heelys.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Heelys to
Even worse
forget
is that, like, you know, you
feelings.
have a little campground and you're talking out
Yeah.
to your friends, and then all of a sudden, like it's pitch black, right?
Yeah.
All you see is behind a friend of yours. The sketcher light turns on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because like let's say it's like a group of thieves just stole from another village or something. It's the apocalypse, and so they're out in the middle of the woods. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. They only got the light of fire
Yeah.
by them, and they're talking about the haul, what they got from these people who they killed, and all of a sudden from the darkness, all you see is that one light hit, and they're like, "Was that a light?" And the whole bottom of the shoe lights, and they just see my eyes, and they're like, "Showtime." And I walk in, and she just started getting away with nigga.
Dude, yeah, it's all about surviving.
It's all about
On your back, instead of a samurai sword, you got like a really like one of those thigh high.
Dr. Souls.
No, one of those thigh high disco boots with a big heel and the goldfish in it.
Time for backup. You got the goldfish heels. Got
The platform.
Hit a nigga on both sides of the head with 2 platforms, bro. Blood go everywhere. That's mine.
That's last resort.
3 shoes, nigga, in the pocket. Mike got the brick, bro, but 3 shoes, man. Rolf taught me well. Rolf.
Not bad.
Not a bad choice.
bad.
Everybody
God.
brought something good to this.
That'd be the movie.
Question is though, like if you got a big dude in the brick ain't doing it, you have to bust out the cinder block.
Yeah, because you keep hitting like some 6'9" nigga in the head with the brick. That's like, this ain't enough.
I need the cinder block.
Go to the back.
Hold on.
Time out. I'll be right back.
He jumped in the air like.
He jumps in the air like one of those dudes who spears fish on the front of a boat.
Yes.
But isn't it crazy that that's all that's stopping us? Like, it's just the idea, like, once the government fails, you're in a post-apocalyptic world, everybody's like, I need to kill
You gotta start
people around.
killing.
Yeah.
Now.
Like, that's the immediate thought that gets to mind is, like,
Yeah.
self-preservation.
And if you're a kill virgin, you gotta kill
Yeah.
now. And the
And
first thing I say is we gotta treat it like a zoo. We gotta kill every prisoner immediately. Can't let them niggas out.
Them
Them
dudes.
niggas getting stabbed from behind the cage.
Wait, they're gonna be in prison,
But
so they're not gonna
it
be out in the
makes
street.
that makes you
Well,
no
You never
different
know.
from
You don't know
them.
what happened. Man. What's
That
up?
makes you no different from them.
I know.
Oh.
Nobody have no morals, nigga. I'm trying to get the last box of Captain Crunch. I'm trying to get the last box
Right.
of
The only
Fruity
difference
Pebbles.
between them and me is they got caught.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's the only
Nah,
difference.
but I mean,
I'm about to throw a grenade into that hot box and let them niggas decide.
Nah, Eddie brings up a good point though. Like it's laughable how the only thing keeping us from literally murdering each other is like the flimsiness that we call society.
Right, it's just this flimsy idea that we have, you know, that there are rules and consequences.
That's true.
And then like the moment
There
that
are
shit
rules and
breaks,
consequences.
There are, but I'm saying like.
but like
at
the
end of
moment
the
there's
day,
no
we're-
the moment there's no consequence for like just doing whatever the hell you want to, like I
It
mean,
happens.
Which introduces a good idea with y'all because Nate has brought this up before.
The Purge?
Like, not the Purge.
Wait, why did he say that so fast?
Yeah, I'm sure he thought it.
That's what you want?
Yeah, he does. He slick on the Purge. But Nate and I brought up. Well, Nate brought up the point. We talked about it for like an hour, but it was like that we've forgotten what it was like to have consequences for what you say.
Ooh, let's get into that again.
So like,
Say that again?
Yes.
like there aren't consequences anymore for popping off at people online or whatever. Like his argument was like that you should be allowed a punch or a quick. You know, like how hockey has time for like it should almost be like a cop could be present. And you could just be like, and it goes straight to a scrap.
So
and
off of that is a thing apparently.
For online? Or
you're allowed to fight if both parties agree.
Yeah, mutually agreed combat.
Yeah.
As long as you don't do any damage to any public property,
right.
and you both, like if me and Eric get into a fight, and we're beating the shit out of each other, and we both agree to it, as long as we don't destroy any public property,
Or sue each other, or start saying that like,
Wait, alright,
good.
Okay.
So like you have to sign a contract or something?
No.
No,
What-
you have to verbally
I can
agree.
only imagine if the person who gets beat up decide like,
Well, that's-
I never agreed.
That's the thing. They bitch out and they start suing
Yeah.
so and
That's
so
usually
for
what
assault
happens.
battery.
That's-
But I mean, everything's
foul.
on Instagram these days. So it was like, hey, I'm about to beat this dude ass. It was like,
Welcome to Jackass.
welcome to
See, and
Jackass.
that's where the evidence comes in. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, if you say I'm about to whoop this dude's ass and I've agreed to it, then like,
And the other
you
dude's
get beat
just
up.
like, bring it on, bitch. And then like,
It's like,
dude
you're
gets his
clear.
ass rocked. It's just like, I'm suing. It's like, you just got your ass beat and you agreed to this ass beating. So I don't know.
But I agree.
So the winner goes explode, rip off his pants.
I'll take that sock.
Yeah, just let people get a couple licks in every now and again. Like, what's the
Yeah, I agree. I feel like
Or
what he
these-
said was like off the cuff is that you should be able to get one hit in, like
Yeah.
you just pop off because like it would really make you reconsider
Some of the dumb shit you
rage,
do.
the dumb shit, yeah, the interactions, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
because I
Because
mean,
there's a lot
like,
of it that gets pent up, and like
Yeah.
we're animals, just like anything else. That
Right.
they need to release their instincts every
I
once.
take a souvenir every time I do it. I take someone's sock and I have a belt full of socks.
that's the nigga be taking to the socks. Run.
That's the most psychopathic statement I've ever
That's crazy.
Well, I stole it-
I'm taking people's socks.
to be fair, I stole it from Teresa.
Yeah, he definitely did. But
like, what's up with that sock belt?
damn, knockout.
Thank
Another
you.
sock,
But like, I agree with you totally too, Eddie. That like, because I heard an architect, or like somebody was interviewing some architect, and he was like, "How do you know exactly how to plan like walkways and stuff like that?" And he was like, "Just see wherever people walk, and then build around that." It's the same kind of thing as like we need to focus on like humans are always trying to change their nature to fit a certain law or a certain society. When we could find what we do normally and then build our society around that. You know what I mean?
That makes
But
way too
that
much
makes,
sense.
yeah, way too much sense.
Yeah, it's like, because I mean, we all have these like sex is like I was talking to you. I think it was Nate. I was talking to. I was like, we treat sex worse than we treat violence in this country.
What do you
In a lot of ways, like sex is like you could see somebody on TV with a gun getting shot, and
Oh,
that's
yeah,
damn
yeah,
near Disney
yeah.
Channel.
Yeah.
But like you see two people have sex is R-rated. You know what I mean?
God, cut it off.
Like right, exactly. It's like you gotta
Oh
go.
my gosh,
You gotta go to FX
she
to watch
showed
two
a
people have
nipple.
sex. But you
Yeah.
can watch two people kill each other on like basic TV.
Yeah.
Like it's the same type of thing. It's like if you reverse it and you work your way, because like I don't necessarily think that people are inherently violent. I just think that certain conditions can brew it. But everybody's inherently sexual, except
Well,
for
you
a
don't think
handful of
people
people.
are inherently violent?
I don't think
I
people's
feel like
go-to
people
is
are.
necessarily violence, but I think that sex is more of an urge for humans than violence.
I'm gonna disagree with you
I
on
feel
that.
like people
Really?
are inherently violent. Yeah,
know what?
because like when you disagree, I think it's levels of violence. So
Right,
like,
right.
Yeah, like it was you disagree with someone, then you get angry at them,
Yeah.
and then if that anger can like escalate to violence.
Right, I agree with you. But like, I think that the inherent thing with that is that like what inhibits a lot of people from because like anger, you're right. Anger, there are levels to violence, and anger can be turned into things.
Yeah.
But what inherently stops people from being violent is the return of violence. Like that in
It's
itself.
the return of violence.
Yeah. So
Like
yeah, exactly. So even if we took all of society's rules away, a lot of people would not necessarily be violent because violence would come back to them.
I feel like
Yeah.
there's more
And that
consequences
fear.
that stop people from being violent.
Right,
Because
yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's the thing.
what you
Violence
said-
coming back to you is a consequence.
That's what I'm saying. It's
I'm not
like,
about to go punch
Well,
somebody
not
that's like twice my
necessarily.
size.
Not necessarily because the consequence doesn't have to be violent. It could be like you being locked up. That's not technically violent.
No, what he's saying
No,
is in the absence of law, it's the same thing I'm saying is in the absence of law, what holds a lot of people intact with violence is the return of violence.
Yeah, so see,
like
that's-
if me and you are beefing, what's gonna stop me from outright attacking you is the fact that I could get hurt. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's the
So-
same type
okay,
of thing. Yeah.
But yeah, see that's the thing. Okay, so what
Yeah.
you said is
Uh-huh.
correct, right? Like, but I agree with Eric. I think we're inherently violent, right?
Okay.
Because you break rules, right? Like there's no more government. What's the first thing we jump to? Like violence, right?
Well, that's us.
So see, I think that's humans in general. You're gonna start because you're gonna start like you think it's just us, but I think it's humans in general. We have all this pent up aggression.
Right.
You're gonna instantly jump to violence, all right? Initially, right? Once initially after the first couple of months cease, then you know that like Eric could kill me, Mike could kill me, Nate could kill me. So then when you see other people, you won't be the aggressor anymore.
Right.
Now you know there's consequences.
Yeah, and
so
I think
calm
it's
down. So that turns into that police. That turns into that
But
society.
it may not also be like violent in terms of being the aggressor. It can be violent in terms of being like defense. Like so, like you may think like, oh crap, I need to show some violence or like
Right.
in order
Initially,
to scare people off. Yeah.
Right. Initially, because then that's what I'm saying. Like inherently, everybody is like using violence or We'll switch it on.
It's kind of like the first day in prison thing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Exactly, the first day in prison thing. You feel
Yeah.
like you have to prove yourself by
But
being
like,
violent.
even though there is a lot of violence in prisons, I feel like it's an 80-20 thing. I feel like 20% of people are responsible for 80% of the violence in a prison. You know what I mean? Like because I think most people in prison, even if it's violent or not, they know the rest of these niggas are prisoners. So it's one thing that like there are a handful of alphas that are gonna fight no matter what the conditions are.
But that's the thing because there's consequences.
Yeah, but exactly. But I think that because like we always like going back to like biology too, like only a handful of people are alphas.
I guess I will change my stance. I guess I don't think people are inherently violent.
You know what I mean? Like
I feel like it's definitely your environment
Right.
that shaped you into being violent. Because if we go back to what we were saying, how some people are violent because they feel it, they have to do that as a
consequence of their conditions, yeah.
Oh no, just like as a way to defend themselves.
Right.
So like they're just being violent because of their environment. They feel like they have to. What do you think, Nate?
See, I'm kind of torn because I think we're inherently violent, but I think our modern society has made it so where we have so much free time that it sort of changes our dynamic. Because at your core, if you dial it back down to like your gorilla lizard brain, you should be out hunting and gathering food and building your shelter all day long. Whereas now, that stuff's all just provided for you instantly. So now what do you do to fill that void? There's like this hole missing out of your life.
Okay, so if we go back to the hunter and gathering, do you think hunting is like you being violent, or do you think that's more of you like?
I think it's enough to get it out of your system.
Yeah, because that's violence. You're using.
But there are people who like
But you don't necessarily
hunt. I feel like there are people who like feel like, I guess sympathy when they're hunting, but they just do it as a means.
But
so do you feel like that's violent? Because I feel like if you're violent, you're getting like joy out of.
I think malice.
Well, see, that's
I
different.
think what you mean is malice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's difference.
yeah.
Violence, there's a distinction what you're saying. Because you can have a psychopath who feels remorse for what he's doing, but he's still killing and showing violence,
Well, if he's a psychopath, I'd assume that he would feel any remorse.
Well, like sociopaths who feel remorse, but they still do it. You know what I mean? Like they'll kill.
But not even sociopaths. Like say if you're like beefing with someone and you really hate that person, like you feel like fulfilled that you actually punched them or something like that. That doesn't necessarily make you a psychopath. That just
Well, I'm just saying, like, let's just put the example that, like, if you did kill someone and then you felt remorse afterwards, or you felt bad about it, but you still did it. You still showed that act of violence. That was still violent. It just wasn't malice.
I think that Eric, at
That's a
the
good
end
point.
of this argument, though, is arguably, like, the point that you brought up about there being levels to it is where the nuance is that, like, I think there is a certain degree of violence that people will inherently do, but I wasn't considering that when I was saying what I was saying. Like, I think there's a degree that people are willing to get violent. Like, I think most people, even the ones that are more violent, their violence typically stops before they kill somebody type of situation.
Right.
It's like, I just try to get this out and then it's done. But, like, there'll always be a handful of people that just want to...
That's kind of where I was going. I think the physical amount of exertion you have to do to survive naturally without all of our modern structures is enough to kind of get that out of your system. Because like if you do physical activity, you get those endorphins.
Right.
So I think the hunting of animals, having to walk to get water, build your shelter, whatever the hell else you're doing during the day, I think there's enough exertion out of there to get the, I guess, quote unquote, anger equaled out of your system. It's not necessarily violent, but you're exerting enough energy in a hard enough way that it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I see.
We were too smart for our own good. We made things
Speak
too
for yourself.
quickly.
I like sitting down and watching Netflix and doing nothing.
No.
Yeah, I think it's not violence. I think it's just,
No, it's nothing. Not nothing. Well, maybe, I guess.
yeah, I think it's not violence. I think it's just inherent self-preservation.
Yeah.
Like an inherent need to survive. That's what it is.
But
Like humans are
overall,
inherently survivors. If that means you being quiet, staying in the background, being defensive, or being submissive to a certain leader,
yeah.
we're just self-preservative. Like we're inherently meant to like survive.
Yeah,
Because
because
it's an
we're-
inherent need to live, basically.
we're
and do
animals.
whatever we can do to do it.
Yeah.
There's a hierarchy to us being animals. Like there are people who are quote unquote alphas. There are followers. There are people who would rather just be told what to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that there's all types of, everybody in society fulfills a different set of functions. So some people are followers, some people are independent within that following structure. So they're like, I'm going to do my own thing, but at the same time, I'll still comply with this group. Like there's a little bit of everything in society. I just think that overall that the urge for sex and reproduction outweighs that violence. That's why I feel like it should be reversed in terms of how we view things. That sex should be openly viewed as comfortable, like no matter who you do it with, as long as it's consent. It should be a comfortable thing that anyone can be like, that anyone can see and you can explain. Not like you can just go fuck out in the open, but it's just like if you see it, you can explain to your kids like this is what this is. You were made by this process, but then like treat violence the way we treat sex, where it's like this is explicit. You shouldn't do.
But
this.
see, okay, I definitely agree with you, and I think the difference would be like, I guess what you're saying, like when it's like shows that kid may watch, that thing that stops them from allowing them to show sexual things. But I think it could still be allowed instead of they having it where it's like humans, right? Acting out this sexual pleasure, they can have it like, I guess bury me. They can have it like animals or like some type of. No, I'm saying like some type of creatures, right? So like a kid can look at it and they can learn from it without actually being.
Like the Animal Channel?
Like, watching Discovery Channel?
No. It could be like a cartoon. It doesn't even have to be an animal. It can just be like some cartoon figure where they can like, act out their sexuality. I'm not saying like they on the screen fucking.
Start them out with hentai and work their way up.
Yeah, like they're kissing and stuff like that, and then never mind.
Nah, I agree.
because that's the whole issue. Was like, I guess some parents don't want their kids to watch certain stuff because it may have sex, and then that's like you're shaming sex when necessarily is like. If you have it where it's like this, I don't know. I guess it's more PG-13 version where it's like.
I agree. I agree. Like yours.
So that way they can
still
they can. So I mean, because like to be honest, I don't remember having the sex talk at all with my parents.
I never got that either.
Yeah.
And like you have to find another way to learn, right? And then you can learn from like a very bad source, whether that's like another guy telling you like, oh, this is how you say how sex.
So
which is usually how it goes.
You stick it in your butt and you pee.
So I'm saying like, so you can
Rick,
have,
hold on,
like, because like even like sex ed, like sex education, like in high school, man, it was.
Yeah, it's just not. No, I agree with what you're saying. There has to be like an adequate way of telling.
You gotta
it
better be good,
bro.
No pressure.
So one of my mom's friends was a dude, and he tried to like explain to my little brothers, like give them like the. No, he wasn't a stepdad. He was just some random nigga, but he was. He tried to have that conversation with my little brothers, but in order to like relate to them on a way that he thought they would understand, he tried to explain it to them in DBZ references, and I was
wait. Dragon Ball Z
references. Like he was talking about power levels and like screaming and everything, and I was like, bruh, stop talking.
Bro,
this is
what?
And my brothers aren't dumb, so they already knew exactly what was going on, and they were looking at each other like, what is this dude fucking doing?
Prime example of like you need to explain things adequately.
Right.
Yeah, and I definitely did not explain the little cartoon thing. Like,
was your cartoon gonna be Dragon Ball Z as well?
No. But like for example, like say you have like a Disney movie. Right? So you have a Disney movie, and instead of having like the human characters like be sexual, you can have like
two rabbits fucking,
or not really fucking, but you can like. I don't know. So that way you can like, if the kids see it, it's not.
Ease your kids into it, so that way the questions come naturally.
So that way you're not saying it, because like kids, like I feel like you need to start off.
Yeah,
I mean, because nowadays you got kids who are like 10 years old having sex.
Yeah, but you can't like. I wasn't when I was saying what I said about sex. I didn't mean like you just show some kid like Pornhub. No, this is what love is like. Like I just mean like I mean like the flow of like teaching kids about kissing and then teaching kids that teaching kids about kissing first.
Yes, that's
then
exactly
teaching them about intimacy. Then after that,
but I'll say
and then gradually it works its way down.
Yeah, and I'll say like for like you're gonna have like little kids instead of having like two like real life actors. You can have it as like a cartoon.
Kids not reenact, but kids interact sometimes experimentally, sexually. Like, and it's not necessarily that they even know what they're doing. Sometimes it's just biological. Like you just
trying to learn.
You're trying to learn shit, and then of course you're gonna be curious. You're gonna be like, you see a girl, you're like, why you don't have one of these? You know, like it's like
exactly.
Right.
So that's
like,
what I mean by.
I remember that to this day. Like when I was a kid, like I was like we had like a family friend, and so it's like they were like, what is that? And I was like, what is that? Like, I was just like, where's yours? It was like, where's yours? Like,
I
so
don't
I was
even
like,
remember. Yeah,
I remember that. Like, I was like, what the fuck is yours? Like, he's confused. And so it's just like, it goes both ways. So it's like, I don't know.
I think you would show the kid not necessarily anything even sexual. You just show him what a healthy relationship would look like.
Right.
Yeah, that's you gotta be,
Yeah.
And
And
it's not
that would be like for the
about
first
holding
several years. That's all you get. So they'd reenact a healthy
hands. A
relationship.
kiss or something like that. Yeah.
And that would be the limit. You sort of show them like the beginnings of how you talk to someone,
Right.
start a relationship, what that would look like.
Respectfully, yeah.
And how
And
to
then,
talk to
and
people,
then when
yeah.
they reenact that, it's instilled in them at a young age.
I mean,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
like,
yes,
and what we
exactly.
forget too is like we needed to, instead of teaching kids about sex, even in high school, we should have taught kids about how to talk to the people they want to talk to.
Respectfully,
Yeah.
too.
Respectfully,
Yeah.
like how to
Yeah,
know
there's a way
where
to
there's
go
an
about it,
appropriate
yeah.
place to do this. If you like a
And how to
guy
take
and you're a guy, or you
rejection.
like a girl and you're a
How to
girl,
deal with
how to
rejection and all that
confront.
stuff.
Yes,
Yes, 'cause that's-
teaching guys and girls how to deal with no's.
Yes.
Yeah, and then like
Oh God, yes.
yeah, because it goes both ways. Like we always, like, I'm not to get on a high horse, but we always teach guys that like no
Of
means
course.
no, but it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Women are guilty of not knowing what no means too.
Yeah.
And so like it's fair, and so you need to teach kids that like how to talk.
So
to
what
people.
age would you start?
I would-
I guess combining exactly what
I
all three
would
of us
start
were saying.
intimacy. I would introduce kids to the idea of people seeing
relationship?
people kiss young.
Yeah.
So, all right, so
Really
you want to start off like what? Because I kind of agree with
Yeah.
Nate was saying. Like probably start off with like how to approach, how to respectfully talk.
Intimacy before
and
the
then-
teens.
Oh yeah.
Intimacy.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah,
because teens is when the hormones hit is like 12, 13.
Because I was 11,
And so
and
you
that's what
wanna
my parents would tell me
yeah,
about
you
like
wanna
using
teach
condoms.
Oh, so you
them.
actually have the sense that talk.
Yeah, my parents. So I was like, we moved to Houston, right? In Houston, we lived in like a rough neighborhood. I told you guys like the school was pretty rough, like weed, like drugs, gangs. So I'm 11, and most of these kids are like 2 years older than me in every grade because they failed years, right? So I'm in like 6th grade with 13-year-olds, like 15-year-olds are in 8th grade, right? 15-year-olds, like typical high school kid ages. So people are like fucking and doing like all these different things, right? And so like, you know, I remember walking to the first day of school and I saw a condom. I was like, what's this? On the floor. And mom was like, that's a condom, that's for sex. And mom was like, do you know what sex is? And I'm
She
like,
was straight blunt about it.
yeah,
That's
she was just
good.
like, real, and I was like, well, I was just like, that's just how you make babies, right? And I was like, she was like, yeah, and like, you know, and then like as the years go by, like 6th and 7th grade, there'd be different talks about it, like, you know, about how, it's like, you know, you're gonna start going to, my dad was like, you're gonna start going to hormonal changes, what's gonna change, you're gonna grow hair, women do the same thing, but you know, you just gotta be safe, you can't do this, like,
That's what's up,
avoid
yeah.
sex right now, like, you're too young of a kid, like, you should be focusing on school, you know, that kind of thing. But they said, like, you know, there's venereal diseases, they just slapped everything, and like, it was a progressive throughout 6th and like 7th grade about all these different things. We just be talking constantly.
Okay, so off of that, during sex ed, I wish people had talked about the real shit that happens. Like your knees gonna hurt when you start growing. You'll get boners at weird times during the day.
No, that is valid. That's
Yeah.
very valid. Because
Yeah.
I feel like
People
my
teach
sex
you,
ed was just
it
like
owes you money.
I don't really remember, but I know like they pretty much saw like a series of like different diseases.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was like to kind of scare you, like, don't do this, you gotta get the crabs.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, gonorrhea and all of that.
The
Don't have sex, you'll get AIDS and die.
You won't get the Magic Johnson, you won't die now.
Nah, unless you're Magic Johnson.
Then you won't.
Yeah.
You get the
I feel like
money.
he's healthier than everybody.
Yeah, but like they're talking about like, you know, like your voice about to start cracking. You're gonna like, you know, people.
Hey, my voice is
The
never
low
like
level.
I do not remember experiencing the
Oh, it sucks. It is not fun.
Really?
People will make fun of you.
So is it like legit what they saw in movies?
Yes. It's like I'll be talking like this and then like that.
That, and how long did it last?
Oh, like your like middle school years, I guess.
It's like a year if I remember.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh damn, no.
Stuff like that.
I missed
I
that.
never had that.
Yeah, I
And
never
it
had
wasn't
that.
like super often, but it definitely happened.
I went straight from to this.
No, because it's weird too, because you start off like as a young kid with a high pitched voice, and eventually end with like, you know, kind of whatever we got now.
Darius' voice.
Yeah, Darius got a diesel one too.
But in the interim, you get this weird like high and low alternating thing with cracks in the middle.
yeah.
So like you have like high pitched talk and then like low pitched talk, like freaking Luther Vandross something, and then like cracks in the middle where like you switch in between, and then eventually you equal out to adult voice.
Huh. Yeah, maybe I did experience it. I never noticed it, but from what I can recall, I do not remember.
But you did experience boners at weird awkward times during the
Oh
night.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like I wish somebody would have warned me sweatpants would betray me.
Right? No, nobody talked about that
Stop
sex ed
wearing
class.
sweatpants.
You at a funeral,
Yes.
next thing you know.
Yes. I remember that shit vividly in 8th
Boy.
grade.
Yeah, we just stopped wearing sweatpants. Like,
It's over nothing too. It's like, look, that shoe's kind of cool looking. What the fuck is this?
I remember the transition from waking up in the morning soft to waking up in the morning hard, and then cramming the dick into the bed when you stretch. Like you flip over the morning. I almost impregnated my bed that first night. After that, I did all the way into the bed.
So there just needs to be communication, you know, because like I don't know how like your parents did things, but like, you know, when things first started happening, you know, you go to the bathroom and you're like messing around, and you know, you take how all of a sudden your bathroom time goes from like in and out to like 10 minutes, 30 minutes. Like, what's going on?
Nothing.
I'm just trying to make sure I wash behind my ears.
Really well.
Get your hands off your nuts, boy.
And that's what I noticed that like conversations became more and more frequent about different things.
Right.
Because like you have to be, I think you have to be very aware as a parent, you know, because you can see things. You know, you should be able to notice like
what is
but that depends. Because like my mom, rest her soul, was super ultra Christian, and so
super ultra
mega.
She used to wake up at like 4 a.m. in the morning to pray.
To Mecca.
So like when I was going through my high school years, like there would be times where like it was obvious that like that's what I had done before like I went to bed or whatever, and like instead of like having a talk or anything, I just got a whooping.
Nice.
You got a whooping before praying.
it cleanses your soul.
You need a good whooping, boy.
Yeah, there's just different ways to do it. I think, and I think I don't know what's correct.
But communication is definitely important. Talk to your kids for real.
I think so.
If
Are you texting your mom now?
If you have any.
No, nigga, she asked me about an Airbnb thing, and I was like sending it off to her.
Yeah.
Dear mom, why did you never talk to me about the birds?
Now
and
I don't know
bees?
what the bees or the birds do.
Speaking of which, what the hell is that reference?
I really do not know.
What is that?
I don't understand
Yeah.
birds and
I don't
bees.
know.
Is a
This
bird
point,
fucking the
I'm
bee?
too afraid to ask.
Because what
I'm
would that
gonna wait till
offspring
I
look
have a
like?
kid so they
Yeah,
can
that's
teach
like-
me.
How terrifying would that offspring be?
What?
A sparrow fucks a yellow jacket?
What the fuck is going on here? Like, yeah, how do
Yes.
people
That's a Pokemon, bro. Bee drill.
What is that?
But yeah, like my parents did the same thing with like my middle brother, who's like 21 now. Even with the youngest one, they even like, because we're talking, my brother and I talk about things, and the kid at a young age, he's very quick learner, so he's heard things, and like now he's going like, you know, it's they're wrapping up 8th grade, they're doing their 8th grade dance, and my mom's like,
Be careful.
kids.
Put your goddamn cock away.
God, Dave!
That's what my dad. One time I like skipped. I skipped after school. I didn't get on the bus, and I walked home with a friend and this other girl, right? And my dad, my dad was like, when I get there, my dad was like, I'm 12 years old. He's like, I didn't think this was gonna happen. You know, at this stage of the game, like it's talking about like I'm an old ass man. It's like at this stage of the game, for you to lie to us like this, we had trust.
Damn.
And I was just like, I was talking to Pops, was like, what's next? You gonna come home with a kid? I was like, no. Like that was, I think my mom's greatest fear was like us, my brothers and I, like, and that's still I guess the youngest, but like getting a girl pregnant and not going to college or not, you know,
Yeah, that's
having
not
her
good.
messed up because it happens so much in Mexican families and like.
Happens much in a lot of
I have
families.
family that's done it. I have family who like done it.
Getting a kid at 15 is not unusual.
I have a couple of cousins who done it, like both.
I'm being for real.
Everybody was
That's not
pregnant.
common.
Everybody was pregnant in my high school.
Yeah. Cologne,
Especially people where you were looking at like you were not even attractive. Like who hit that?
Damn.
You gonna put it out there like that?
He said it's true.
It's true.
I remember the saddest thing in my life up until that point was this girl that I knew who had went away for like a year because she had a kid in high school, and then she came back to class, and you can kind of see like the dead in her eyes, but she was like still taking classes. She was doing well in the class if I remember right, but I just every time I used to look over at her, it used to make me feel sad because I could see the soul like gone in her
It
eyes.
changed your damn life, man.
Yeah, it was just like damn.
I can't imagine how hard it is.
And you're
Shout out for her for
27.
going back to school.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Shout out to her for finishing, but
Yeah.
it was just crazy to look at because I was just like, damn. Man, this
Yeah,
girl-
you're 27,
yeah,
not 17.
right.
That's a big difference. And you
Yeah.
still couldn't handle it right now.
I couldn't handle it now, man.
Imagine you at like 14.
Anybody have any pregnancy scares?
No.
Nah.
Thank you. All right. Shout out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I dodged herpes once, but no pregnancy scare.
What a dog!
He got his way over.
Wait. no, wait. What's your story about herpes? What the hell?
Okay, so
What happened was
what had happened was there was a friend of mine, still a really good friend of mine. He started dating this chick online.
Wait, a guy.
All right, listen.
He started dating this chick online, and then she had kind of like a fallout with her folks or whatever, and then moved in with him. But this was like her like first time like out of the house, and like this is her first time like living with my friend, and so like she realized very early on that like being in person with him was not the same thing as like talking to him online, and she wasn't happy. She was like very discontent, but like she was like living in this dude's like apartment, so she really didn't have anywhere else to go. And like she moved from one state to another, so she didn't have any friends. And so like I would go over to hang out with my friend because we were fucking friends. We talk about video games and shit. And like she fucking like fell in love with me, and I was like, "Yo, back the fuck up. You were dating my friend. I'm not gonna do that." Fast forward a couple years, she ends up still trying to sleep with me. Still told her no, and so she ends up sleeping with some other dude who gave her herpes, and they like my friend and this chick had split ways, and so like she like right before like it was I think it was Dragon Con, I forgot what year it was, but like she was gonna try and sleep with me at Dragon Con, and then like slept with that dude. And then like I couldn't go the night she was gonna try and like attack me, and then she ended up getting herpes from that dude.
That sucks.
And then like thankfully my friend didn't get it. And then like afterward, like me and him sat down and was just like, damn bro, that was fucked up. Yeah.
Well, all right.
you want to talk about dragon herpes.
Wait, on a serious note, like, all right, is it bad? All right, I can imagine.
It's not good.
No. I'm saying
bad?
They're not good.
No, I'm not asking that.
They're not a fucking happy.
No, I'm asking. No, all right. Let's imagine for a moment that you have herpes.
It's not the
right?
end of the world, right? It's not
Like,
the end of the world.
But
Let it
I mean,
burn,
doesn't it kind of
let
suck
it
for the
burn.
person to like discriminate against you?
Yes.
Because you had herpes. Because
Yes.
I mean, I don't know everything about herpes, but I'm pretty sure like
You're,
there's ways that you can have sex without actually.
yeah, you have to
giving it
have.
to your person.
You're gonna have to have that talk with your partner.
You gotta take the medicine, and you gotta like there's specific
I
things
have
you can't
this
do it.
So, like,
Yeah.
So
Wait,
like,
yeah,
would you?
yeah.
What if you meet a girl, right? And y'all are like vibing, or you meet a guy, whatever, and y'all are vibing, and then you find out that person has herpes.
See ya.
Really?
It's
I mean, no, I'm not judging. My bad. I didn't mean to say really like that. I'm just curious. Like,
Yeah.
would you?
It depends on how far along things are, I guess.
How far along?
Most likely it's a no for
Let me
me.
tell you
Does your
this.
mouth have herpes?
Let me tell you this. All right, Aaron.
And then
But let me ask you: Did we already have sex and she didn't tell me, or have we not had sex? And she's
No,
telling me
you haven't had sex. I feel like you have to tell someone.
You do.
You do.
You
Yeah,
should,
I
but
think
people are assholes, so they don't.
Yeah.
Some people do. There's some people that do, and there's some people that don't.
But there may be some people who don't even know. I mean, because I think technically, like, what's the
You can have
First-
it and not be.
well, no,
yeah,
so it's two versions of it, right? It's one
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like come from like just like saliva or something, and I think like
Human papillomavirus C.
that one. I think like 70% of the
population.
population has that.
Yeah.
that's like a cold sore.
It's chicken
Yeah, it's
pox.
like a cold sore. Yeah, it's like chicken
Yeah,
pox.
it's just a cold
Yeah.
sore.
No,
Which
like,
I never had.
no. By the way, you've had chicken pox in your system.
I had it in my system.
Because I would get an STD test, and you test positive for whatever the fuck it is, whatever A, B, whatever the hell letter it is.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you that shit's chicken pox, and that is not funny.
No, I never had chicken pox.
Well, that
You still got it in your
you
system.
no.
need to,
Because I
you
took
need to
a
go,
vaccine.
but
I
you
took a
still need
vaccine.
to go to get checked out because you could end up getting shingles, and shingles is way
worse
worse.
than that.
Yeah.
Because I think
way
it's
worse.
Because I went to look, and I was scared as shit. Because
I think shingles can kill you.
yeah, it can. But like
Yeah, it can.
the whatever letter combination it was that was whatever I was positive for, that's
Yeah.
actually chicken pox. Yeah,
Oh.
like 99% of people have it. So if like
Dang, I
so if,
can
like,
imagine if like that's your first time getting tested.
Dude.
and you,
yeah, they do not tell
you
you
were
that
like,
shit.
ah,
They do not tell you, it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, that's pretty much chicken pox, and 99% of people have it.
yeah.
Like,
Thanks for letting my heart sink.
Right?
Yeah.
For like half a day.
You probably over here like rethinking your life. Like, damn.
I was like, well, that's it.
Like, who did I get it from? Like, damn.
Well, that's another thing. People should get tested.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
definitely
yeah.
needs to get tested.
I just went because I've never been.
Yeah, if you're sexually active, like just get tested more regularly, and if you're about to become sexually active again, like
You probably should know.
you get
Yeah,
tested.
just be aware, because that's the last surprise you want to get.
Yeah, just spread the word. Get tested.
You know, spread the word, not diseases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
spread the word before you spread the word.
Spread them cheeks.
Damn, what is prison?
Holy shit.
Okay.
Okay, that's clapping here.
All right. On a lighter note, people run weird.
People do run weird.
People run weird as shit.
Like,
Not to be okay. So there. Before I get into this,
The Nate theory. No, this is legit. The
No,
Nate
no,
theory.
this is- I
And
stole-
once you told me about this,
I stole this from my brother.
Oh, you stole it from your brother.
Yeah.
All
So
right, shout out to Zach.
okay. So shout out to Zach again. Okay. So before I disclaimer, there are plenty of female athletes who are way better shape than I could ever even fathom being. But on the majority, the average female running down the street runs weird as shit.
Right.
It's true. Not to say the average guy doesn't, but the average female, like the regular, just like 26 years old, going for a jog.
They kind of got that jumpiness to them.
They have the thing where it's like their knees are together, but like their feet flare out to the side, kind of like around in a circle.
Sassy.
well, they have a lot of additional body
I was
proportions
just
that they
thinking
have
that, yeah,
to
They do.
from the
compensate
moves
for.
and everything.
They do,
It changes
Yeah.
the way you run, yeah.
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 but
To make sure you don't like lose balance and like just fall over immediately.
Yeah, because I actually hear like a lot of sports bras don't really give you that.
Oh, yeah, no,
support
there's-
you
more,
need. Yeah. Which was
Those things don't do shit.
Damn, it really must suck.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know.
I've gone bra shopping with enough females to know that shit is trash.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess this does sound like I don't know, like
But yeah,
common
people are
sense,
weird.
but I didn't know that like most bras have like a little like a legit like metal wire.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the inner lining, yeah.
So when I found out that when I was like a teenager, I was like, damn, that's crazy.
It's
So I
high
think
tech,
some
baby.
of them can like actually, I guess if your bra is old, it can pierce.
Hell
like,
yeah.
Yep. That's why sometimes when they get fake breasts and they put on an old bra and it pierces it, it causes infections they don't even know because they sometimes don't feel it. So they have this like festering injury like somewhere off view. And then like, once they start feeling like the effects of like infection, they start getting fever and they crash and they just don't realize.
Jesus.
Damn.
That's a weird way to go.
Damn, died because of a breast meat infection.
Breast meat.
And some women like their breast reductions just because it's such a pain
I
on the
knew
back.
somebody in college that got a breast reduction. You remember that girl? She was cool as hell.
Who?
She just got married recently. I can't remember her name. She was cool with
I'll
Lou.
tell you something.
Oh yeah, I'll say her
Face.
name on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like there are a lot of women that have like large breasts that are just like, man, if I could get rid of these, I would fucking do that
Right,
shit.
I
in a
cannot
heartbeat.
imagine living your day-to-day life.
Your back has to play a bitch.
Yeah.
That shit was
Yeah.
crazy.
But like,
Whoa, wait, pause. 20 pounds?
Some of them do it. I mean, both of them together, right? I don't know.
20 pounds.
20 pounds is a hell of
No, I think some of them
Weight.
do. No, I think some of them
That's
do.
cartoon size.
You know what? I'm not sure. I'm not
Bro,
sure.
no,
I
no
think
bullshit
the
though.
average. I think
No
the
bullshit
average
though. One of my
breast weight is
friends has
20
like
pounds.
like a size like G bra or some shit like that. Her fucking tits are enormous, and I told her to her face, I was like, "Look, I would never smash you just because your tits scare me."
You said that.
Yes,
That's
I mean like
that's
we're-
why we need a class of what to say, what not to say.
well, not like me.
Definitely.
Okay,
Me and this girl have been
Oh, wait,
friends
wait,
since like
yeah.
me and this.
Scientific facts are in.
A pair of D-cup breasts weigh between 15 and 23 pounds. The equivalent of carrying around 2 small turkeys.
Did I really say that? Two small turkeys.
Yeah. The larger the breast, the more they move and the greater the discomfort.
And the larger the turkey.
Yes.
Wait, the average bra size. Never mind.
But your friend's got that G size.
Yeah, no, me
So
and
that's
me,
like 30-pound turkey.
me and her have been friends. Me and her have been friends since like high school. Like I've known her for well over a decade, and that's the only reason I said it the way I said it was because like I knew that she would understand. Like I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to like hurt your feelings or anything. Like I'm.
But you got stupid big titties.
Yeah, and I mean like, and she knows she's got giant tits. Like
I think she would know. This isn't going to be news to her.
I don't
Yeah.
mean you got a mess of titties in there.
What? I do? You're lying. Since when?
Damn.
Nobody told me. That's good.
Alright, I guess.
Is that all we got?
That was pretty good. Yeah, that was a pretty good run.
Hey, before we shut it down First of all, we forgot to let y'all know Eric X is back with us. I'm sure, hopefully, y'all figured that out.
Hopefully, some of y'all got it.
Also, backtracking to one last thing, the phrase "the birds and the bees" is a metaphor for explaining the mechanics of reproduction to younger children by relying on the imagery of bees pollinating and eggs hatching to substitute for more technical explanation of sex.
But I got.
They complicated it though.
They way complicated it.
Yeah.
But it's just like
Humans don't lay eggs.
Humans don't lay eggs, and we don't pollinate flowers. So it's like,
That's very common. And you're explaining this to a 5-year-old kid?
yeah, it's just like,
That's crazy.
It's like telling the story of like the raptor and the dog.
I mean, you may as well just tell them the stork brought you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a way better example.
Oh, and also before we go, this will be on YouTube, so obviously you'll be checking us out on YouTube. And also make sure to check us out on Twitter
On Twitter.
at Pumpernickel Pod.
At Pumpernickel, yeah.
Also, Mr. Pumpernickel P Podcast the Fourth,
Right.
which is hilarious.
Yeah, and that's gonna be all of us. I mean, actually, stripper names. I'm signing off today. Hot nuts.
Wait, what?
Spicy nuts.
Spicy nuts.
Y'all gotta tell me this before I came.
Spicy nuts.
Spicy nuts.
Velvet over here.
What was that?
Sugarfoot.
Black velvet.
I was Black Velvet, wasn't I?
What?
Yeah, I was.
We'll ring it in next time, but you guys enjoy the week.
Anyway, yeah. All right, yo.
This has been the Pumpernickel Podcast, brought to you by the Pumpernickel Podcast.